You know that voice that says, don't be too loud, don't be too confident, don't take up too much space, be humble? She's fired. She's out of here. Because here's the truth. The women who build empires online, the same women who are getting the results that you say you want, the results that you dream of when you lay down at night, are never the quiet ones. They are the ones who dare to be seen. They're the ones who say the thing that makes people sometimes feel uncomfortable. They're the ones who were called too much and kept going anyway. Today, we are talking about audacity, but not necessarily as a personality trait, but instead as a business strategy. Today, we are discussing why being bold, loud, opinionated, visible, and unapologetic is not only okay, but required if you want to stand out, make above average money, and be visible online. So if you have ever feared being told that you are too much, too intense, too confident, too ambitious, this one's for you. And if you know in your gut you can turn up your audaciousness a notch or 2 or 12, this one is also for you. Today, we are turning your too much into your most magnetic strategy and superpower. Let's go. Welcome to All In with Allie, the podcast for online business owners and entrepreneurs who are ready to create the life and business of their dreams. I'm so happy you are here. So like I said in the last episode, this month's theme is visibility and audacity. Why? Because I have found that the more you have of each, the more successful in business you will be, especially if you have an online business. And unfortunately, a lot of the women that I come across in my world and just in the online space in general really don't have enough of either. Like, shockingly so. I know for sure, women especially, this has been conditioned out of us, right? We are conditioned since day one, most of us, to be good little girls, to sit quietly, raise our hand, wait for our turn, don't be too bold, don't be arrogant, don't be too loud, be polite, sit back. And it just doesn't fly. Like in the online space, when you bring the good girl, quiet energy, I'm going to call it humble Hannah energy. When you bring that into the online space and to your business, 9 times out of 10, it's going to bite you in your ass. It doesn't work. So again, I come across a lot of women who either their work is exquisite, like truly some of the most brilliant courses, offers, ideas, bodies of work, but their blocks around being seen keep them hidden so nobody sees their stuff, or their work and what they create is more vanilla and status quo and subpar due to their fears around being too much. So they dim their light and then also aren't being seen, or both. It doesn't work. It's actually really, really sad. It's really, really frustrating. And I can't tell you how many times I have sat in front of these women and I'm like, dude, if you would just own how badass you are, you would have zero issues. Or if you would just like be comfortable, people looking at you as how badass you are, you would have zero issues, but again, it's this issue around being too much or this issue around being seen or both. Again, hence why this is our month's theme. So in last week's episode, we talk about the price of playing small and then the visibility blocks holding you back and how to set yourself free to be seen. So if you have not listened to that yet, definitely go listen. You do not have to listen in order. So listen to this first and then go listen to that one, because it covers several visibility blocks that many of us are currently being blocked from or being blocked by, but then how to set yourself free from said blocks. But in today's episode, we are zeroing in on the audacity of it all. This is my favorite conversation. Audacity is my favorite topic because it's audacity that ignites and it ignites your magnetism. Like, to me, the more audacious somebody is, the more magnetic they are. Again, especially in online business. So I love this conversation. So we're going to talk about audacity and then how to infuse it into your business as a business strategy and how and why this works. So I'm going to give you several actionable tips throughout this episode that I know you are going to love. Okay, so audacity itself is defined in a few different ways. It can mean unapologetic confidence. And I love that they use the word unapologetic in there, because when you are more audacious, people will want you to apologize for it. They're like, who the hell do you think you are for daring to fly while I remain caged? How dare you, right? Please tell me you're sorry. Please stop doing that. You're making me feel bad about my inability to set my own self free, even though I have my keys right here. Okay. So audacity can mean unapologetic confidence, but my favorite definition of audacity that I have found thus far is bold or arrogant disregard of normal restraints. Oh, love. Bold or arrogant disregard of normal restraints. Hot. So some people confuse audacity with arrogance or recklessness. This is often other people's understanding of audacity. But in reality, and especially in entrepreneurship, audacity looks more like, actually, let me back up. Let me say this a different way. Audacity to a normal person, somebody who doesn't really get it, who doesn't really know what they're looking at, right, perceives audacity and audacious behavior as arrogant or recklessness, right? It's like somebody looking at an abstract painting and saying that is a big, hot mess. That's just a bunch of scribble. Well, to the trained eye, they realize that's an abstract painting. That's literally the point. You just don't have a trained eye, and it's subjective, and you don't really understand what you're looking at. You're taking that as a hot mess. Okay. So what's funny about audacity is you have to have the audacity to be misunderstood, because people will perceive you as arrogant or reckless. But as an entrepreneur, what this actually is radical self-trust. That's what audacity is. It is radical self-trust. It is the epitome of I go first energy. I don't wait for my circumstances to change before I move. I move and my circumstances change. To you, that looks reckless. To me, that looks like I have radical self-trust. And I believe in the unseen, and I believe in my potential. So yes, that may be an arrogant disregard to your normal constraints or restraints. To me, it's bold. I just choose to move while you wait for permission. That's it. So the cool thing about audacity is it's also a visibility frequency too. Okay. So I've been kind of talking about visibility and audacity as two separate things, and they are two separate things. But when you truly activate and strategically use Audacity as a strategy, you end up naturally just being more visible because you become more magnetic. You can't magnetize clients hiding in humility. And that's what a lot of people try and do. Humility, whether you realize it or not, it is more of a hiding energy. Don't look at me. Don't let me take up too much space. Don't let me own what I'm good at, right? Like literally, I can't even say this. Like if you're watching the video, I'm literally shrinking. I'm so humble. Can't magnetize clients like that. And certainly not the ones who you want to magnetize. You will magnetize clients, but they're also going to be humble clients who want to play a smaller game. And then you guys kind of just keep each other at status quo, which is fine. That happens a lot. That's actually most businesses, but you're not most people and you're not building most people's businesses. You're building your business and you're listening to this for a reason. So you can't magnetize clients hiding in humility because, as we covered last week, while you're trying to look humble and be a good girl, some other bitch is going to come up behind you and Mr. Steal your girl, aka your client. That's what's going to happen. And you already know you have what it takes. You already know your work is quality. But because you're being humble about it, again, this other person zooms in front of you, takes your client, and we don't know the quality of their work. There are a lot of audacious people out there with zero integrity and zero skill. They just realize, oh, the more confident I am, the more people want to buy from me because people want to buy confidently. All right. So you're not serving yourself, nor are you serving your clients who are looking for you, but buying from her because you're trying to be a good girl and you don't want to take up too much space. Okay. So there's humble energy and there's audacious energy. Humble energy is, yeah, I'll wait to be picked. I'm going to blend in. I don't want to be judged, right? There's like a serious fear of judgment there. That like I don't want people to think like, who does she think she is? What do you mean? Why would you not want people to think that? Of course you're who you think you are. That's literally the point. That's the point. Look at any business that's actually doing the thing. They're who they think they are. They market themselves as exactly who they think they are. That's the point. They plant the flag and they scream it loud and proud, which is why they are businesses that you're thinking of right now. That's the point. Yes, I am who I think I am. And I'm going to own that. I'm not going to be humble about that. So that's humble energy, is like this waiting to be picked. Audacious is a self-appointed leader. Oh, you need that thing? That's me. Oh, you need help with that strategy? That's me. Oh, you want that kind of result? Got it. I'm going to raise my hand. I'm going to stand out. I'm going to set myself apart. The cool thing about audacious energy is not only does it help you stand out so you can be seen and chosen, but it also gives other people permission to be seen and chosen too. So it's really a generous frequency. I love audacious energy. And when it comes to online business, that's exactly what you have to have and be. I want you to have bold, seemingly arrogant disregard for normal restraints. I want you to see average and normal, and I want you to say, not me. Okay. Oh, you want to play by that rule? Okay, cool. You can play by that rule. I'm not going to play by that rule. I am going to boldly disregard that rule. Oh, you have that limitation? Oh, that's a limit for you? That's an upper limit for you? Oh, okay. Well, sure. By all means, help yourself. But me, If I'm being me, I'm going to boldly disregard that limitation, and I'm going to choose to bypass it. I'm actually going to 10x that limitation, and I'm going to show you what's possible. And you can continue to do you, but I'm going to be over here and boldly disregard all of that. That's what I want you to do. It's all so timely because yesterday I got a comment on an ad. And I talked about this in my stories, but it really makes so much sense for this exact conversation. So I am running an ad. I'm running ads to an upcoming challenge. I'm doing the Die Hard Client Attraction Challenge again. We did it in April or May, I can't remember. And we're doing it again because it was such a success. Like the results in this challenge was incredible. So we're doing it again. I'm very excited, but I'm running ads to it. And in the ads, I'm being very bold about what I believe and what I believe is possible for the women who come into my world. And this woman commented and she basically was like, oh gosh, stop with this BS. Stop with this BS already. And I was like, and that didn't bother me. I mean, people are that's just part of the game. But I was curious, so I went to her page and she's a coach and she specifically targets single moms to help earn an extra $100 a day. Okay? So she targets single moms. And I was like, well, that's all well and good. But wait a second, what about what I'm saying as BS to you? That's the part I was like, wait, what about, because, I said a lot of things in the ad. So I responded to her and I kind of gave it right back to her. And I said, look, it's a little concerning that you target single moms to help make, and I said, a whopping $100 a day. And you think what I'm saying is BS. So I'm going to stay in my lane. I would encourage you to do the same before I blow the hell up your thinking, okay? And predatory behavior, predatory limitations. Okay, I didn't say that, but I was just like, I'm going to stay in my lane. You don't have to agree, but like, let's stay in yours. And she said, oh, you mean realistic expectations? Yeah, that's what I do, unlike you. So basically saying like my claims, what I'm saying in this ad was unrealistic. And okay, so first of all, let me tell you what I did. This really shook me because I was like, okay, it's one thing for her to think this, right? It's one thing for her to think what I'm saying, right? Which basically what I was saying is you don't need a bunch of followers. You don't need a huge audience to make good money online. I make a ton of money online. I get really shit engagement, like really bad engagement on my content. I rarely get 100 likes on a post. And I'm earning, 50K months and beyond on average. So that was my point. And it was like, how I do this is because I know how to turn lurkers into lifers. I know how to convert lukewarm followers into diehard buyers. I don't give a flying fuck if you comment on my stuff. That doesn't pay my bills. That doesn't support my business and keep me going. But I do care if you buy from me and my people buy from me. That was my point. That's what I said in the ad. So my thing is like, she can believe what she wants. That doesn't bother me at all. I don't care that she disagrees with me. But the part that really shook me was, bro, she's targeting single moms and projecting her realistic, quote, realistic expectations on to women who need this the most. The women who need, like the last thing they need are more limitations, right? The last thing they need is what's to be perceived as realistic, which is so subjective. So what I did was I invited her. I said, okay. On second thought, I would love to give you a spot in my challenge, my gift. But if you think what I'm saying is realistic, I would love to help expand your definition of realistic. I think the ladies that you work with would really benefit from the wisdom and the strategies that you could take from this challenge. So I said, DM me privately and I'll get you that spot. Well, as of right now, I never heard from her. All right. But the thing about this is like, first of all, we could have like a whole conversation on what's considered normal and what's considered realistic. All are subjective terms, like normal to whom, realistic for who. It depends on who you're talking to, right? So like she thinks $100 a day is realistic. I think $1,000 a day is a bad day for me. 10x what she thinks is realistic. Who's right or wrong? It just depends what your definition is. But furthermore, even more importantly, is I didn't come here to be normal. I give zero shits about what's considered realistic. I know what's considered realistic. That's why I became an entrepreneur, because that doesn't fly with me. I'm not doing what I do for realistic, quote, normal results, AKA average results. If that's what I wanted, I wouldn't be doing this. It's not easy being an entrepreneur. It's not easy having a job, your own business. I would just check out all day and work for somebody else and then go, do my own thing. But I'm doing it the hard way because screw normal. Okay. So what I want you to hear from this, and the reason why I share this, is normal is simply an option. That's it. Normal, it's average, right? That's all normal is. Normal, okay, all options are available in this life. It's all available for every single person. It's all available to us. If all options are available, which they are, we, all of us listening, can essentially be in three categories, in one of three categories, okay? We can be below average, we can be average, or above average. You can either be ordinary, which is like most others, or extraordinary, which is set apart. Well, you chose to have a business for a reason. That already sets you out of the normal average conversation. So if you're going to choose to do this, I pray that you're not doing this as a hobby, but you're going to take it as far as you can take it, or as far as you want to take it. You're already out of the quote normal conversation. You're already audacious. You're on the audacious spectrum. So if you're not getting the results that you want, we simply need to turn up the dial on the audacity a little bit. Audacity, again, is being bold enough to choose extraordinary regardless of what others think. That woman who commented on my ad thinks I'm being arrogant, or she thinks I'm lying. She thinks I'm being unrealistic. She probably thinks I'm a snake oil salesman on the internet. I don't care what she thinks. I know the truth. And furthermore, this is my business. This is my life. You stay in your lane. I'm going to stay in mine. That's the energy you have to have. You cannot afford to care what anybody thinks of you, let alone everybody. And so many people walk around literally carrying the weight and concern of everybody on who they are perceived to be. So audacity, again, is being old enough to choose extraordinary regardless of what other people think. So there are people out there who think I'm doing and saying too much, and same for you. But imagine if I saw that comment, or I get comments all the time. Imagine if I saw one of those comments and then I got shy. Imagine I saw that and thought, I can think what I want, but what about what other people think? Is this reckless? Am I being reckless for saying that this is possible? I mean, I really believe it's possible, but she has a problem with that. So am I in the wrong? Should I not say that? Is that not okay? Am I being a bad person for opening up this world of possibility to these people who may not be ready to see it and hear it yet. Like, imagine if I saw that and I shrunk and I stopped saying it. What do you think would happen in my business? Probably nothing that I wanted to happen, right? It would simply just slow me down. It would simply keep me where I am. So audacity is too much coded, right? Quote, too much. Audacity is too much coded. Like that is audacity. Audacity is too much. That's what it is. If you want to be audacious, if you want to turn up the audacity in your business, which, as I've said, is required for you to do the things that you say that you want to do, you literally have to be okay. You have to first be too much because you're already above average, which is literally too much for the average person. And you have to be okay with that. That's part of it. So it's first like this self-acceptance of, okay, I'm audacious. Audacity is me. I'm audacious. I am comfortable being audacious. Audacious is okay. You know, like you kind of have to own this about yourself. But this is you daring to fly above the radar. This is you daring to be set apart from the status quo. You can't get around it. So if you're going to truly be audacious, you must also be comfortable being seen and being visible, because you cannot be a black sheep who blends in. That's not how that works. Black sheeps don't blend in. They don't. So if you're not comfortable or not open to the idea of standing out, we're going to have a hard time. So I know I'm harping a lot on like just the idea of accepting the fact that you are a need to be audacious, right? And like that as part of your identity. And I know I said in the intro, we're going to be talking about audacity, not necessarily as a personality trait, but instead a strategy. But in order for it to be a true strategy for you, then I kind of lied to you. It has to be part of your personality, at least your marketing personality and how you show up online. So maybe it's kind of like a mask that you put on in business and then you take it off, you know, when you're home, which is totally fine, but it's part of it. So that may sound simple to you, or maybe not, but it is quite the undertaking. Like, I'm certainly not minimizing this conversation and what I'm asking you to do. I'm sincerely asking you to do this. I'm asking you, but I'm telling you this is required. There's no way around this. And there's layers to it. It's difficult. Okay. So, but I'm gonna give you a strategy. I'm gonna give you a few strategies that's gonna make this a lot easier. We're gonna break it down for you. But there's layers to this. Okay. So first, there's the layers of the people who know you and have known you, right? They're your parents, your family, your old friends, your old acquaintances. These are people who have known you well before you had a business, well before you had an online persona, well before you realized you wanted to have these really big goals and you wanted to be, you wanted to be an extraordinary human in a sea of ordinary. They're the people who knew you. So this can be uncomfortable, right? Because from their perspective, if we're just looking at human psychology here, people tend to want to keep people in their box. People tend to want to keep things the same because that makes them more comfortable. No, don't change things up now. Don't go and make a name for yourself. Don't set a higher standard for your life and how you show up, because you've always been this way, and I don't know what box to put you in now. I'm going to have to take you out of this old box, and I like this old box. This old box is where you've always been, and I like it there, and it makes me feel good about myself because this is how it's always been. So it's very uncomfortable, not just for you, but for other people too, because there's the uncomfortability of you changing, but then also there's the uncomfortability that comes from you boldly choosing to be, quote, more, and the inadvertent mirror that gets put on the people who have known you and their life choices, right? Now you're the bird that's fleed the cage. They want you to stay in the cage because they're in a cage. And if you're in a cage, they feel better about them being in the cage. But when you leave the cage, they realize the contrast of you being free and them being in the cage. And then they have to look at themselves and say, do I want to get out of the cage? Yes or no? Okay. Yes. Well, I'm scared to do that. That's uncomfortable. Or no. Well, why don't I want to do that? That's also uncomfortable. Okay. So there's that bag of worms you get to deal with. If you've been waiting for a sign to go all in on your business, this is it. And I have a juicy coupon code for all in listeners only, so make sure you don't miss it. The newly rebranded and upgraded All In experience isn't just another coaching program, it is the last coaching container you will ever need to grow your business your way to the level you want. Here is what's inside. You will get 4 live coaching calls every single month where you get unlimited time to ask your questions and get coached on exactly what you need. You get 4 private one-on-one calls that you can use anytime throughout the year for deep, personalized, custom support. You get instant access to every single program I've ever created, new and old, so that you have a full library of trainings at your fingertips the second you join. And you also will receive monthly subconscious reprogramming to rewire your beliefs and keep you aligned with wealth, success, and visibility that you are calling in. This is not a band-aid. This is not a quick fix. This is the container that gives you everything you need to create undeniable traction, build consistent momentum, and scale your business your way. So if you are ready to stop searching for the next thing and finally go all in, this is your moment. Click the link in the show notes to learn more about the All In experience. And for a limited time, you can use code ALLINWITH to join and save a whopping 25% off for a full year. I can't wait to see you on the inside and on the next call with us. If you have any questions, you can DM me on Instagram. And I'm simply just saying these things. I'm bringing these things up to acknowledge how big of a deal this is, to simply acknowledge it's not always easy. And if you start to notice these feelings of discomfort and you wonder why maybe it's a little bit harder to give, I'm telling you to give yourself some grace because this is not easy, but you do get used to it for sure. And I'm also telling you these things to give you an awareness so that if you start noticing some weird vibes with friends or family members and you start to wonder, why are they not accepting me? Why are they not celebrating me? Why do they make fun of me for wanting something different? You know, like it's not a you thing. I mean, it is a you thing, but it's largely more about them. So there's that. Okay. And then there's the layer of those who think that they know you on the internet or in different social circles who also have an idea of you, right? Who have also put you in a box. You know, maybe these are people who knew you when you started a business, but now you're shifting your business. Maybe they knew you when you had like the humble status quo business and you've decided I'm done playing that game and I'm ready to play a bigger game. Well, okay, that's going to kind of be weird for them too. So you're going to be kind of like reintroducing yourself to a lot of people in your life. But here is where we separate the normies from the baddies. All right. Here's the differentiator between the two. Normies continue to make business decisions based on past experiences. That's what normal people do, which subconsciously includes past expectations, either from themselves or from others, right? I'm not going to go for 50K months or 6-figure months. I'm not going to go for the #1 podcast in the world. I'm not going to go for this really, really big thing because I've never done it before. And who the hell do I think I am? And also, like, people are going to think that's weird. You know, there are people who like me how I am, and I'm going to change. And then what if they don't want me in their life anymore? That's what normal people do, which is fine. It's something wrong with normal. That's what most people do for a reason. It's the normal response. So the normal response is I can't be, do, have, and ask for too much now because I've always been, done, and received less than that in the past. I can't ask for more because I've always expected and received and chosen less. There's a contradictory there. It's too much for me. It's too much for them. It's just too weird. I don't want to put that spotlight on myself. I don't want to put that pressure on myself. What if I fail? What if this? I'm going to continue just based on past results and who I've said I've always been, I'm going to continue on that path because it's safe and it's easy and it's well traveled. I know where I'm going. Okay. That's a normal thing. So normal people continue to play a smaller game, thus create smaller results. Fine. Baddies, extraordinary baddies, decide and move based on where they want to go. And they leave their past in the past as much as humanly possible. Okay? So this is where Audacity as a business strategy comes to play. Because when you do this, when you say, I don't give a flying what about who I was yesterday, let alone 5 minutes ago. This is what I want. That's where I want to go. I know the version of me that gets those results. I know the frequency that I need to rise to get those results. So be it. If it's going too fast for you, speed up or fall back. Either way, this is my life. This is my business. I'm going for it. Past results be damned. Past perceptions and current perceptions be damned. This is where I'm going. Okay? When you do this, this is how you end up collapsing time. That's when that happens. As a business owner, if you want really big results, which I would say is everybody who listens to this podcast, if you want really big results, this is how you get there. This is the way. You must infuse Audacity as a business strategy into your actions. Okay? Because how you get those results, the ones that you want in the future, is you start moving in those ways and normalizing that frequency now. AKA, you get comfortable being audacious because you know it's the only way. It just is what it is. That's the difference. Normies let the past dictate their future. Baddies decide on the future and just move. They let all the other shit go, including other people's perceptions of who they are or who they're not, including their own. Okay? So again, Audacity, it has to be infused in you, your energy, and your strategy if you're wanting to create significantly more than what you have thus far in this lifetime. So how do we do that? What is the play? I'm going to give you the play right now. So there are a few different ways that I want you to begin doing this. There are 4 different ways. All right. We're going to talk about Audacity in your messaging, Audacity in your offers, Audacious Visibility, and Audacious Selling. Are you ready? So first, let's start with Audacious Messaging. All right. So you can't just, first and foremost, before we even dive into these 4, you can't just be audacious in one area and not in the others. Like it's I really did lie to you in the intro of this. I said it's not a personality trait. It is because it begins with you. You're the leader of this business. You are the captain of the ship. Your business only goes as far as you believe it will, because you're the one who's leading it. So this has to be infused in you, even even if it's just like a archetype identity, right? Just something that you turn on when you're in business and then you turn off when you're in other parts of life. Totally fine, but it does have to be part of you. All right? So it's got to be infused everywhere. Sprinkle that shit on everything. So audacious messaging. This is where we are saying what others won't say. This is where we are speaking our truth, minus the fear as much as possible. This is when we are practicing audacious messaging. We're not trying to be polarizing, but sometimes that's required. So I never want you, unless you're really good at it, like I never want you to try and orchestrate polarization. That gets weird. You know, when people have these, like, you could just tell it's just part of their shtick, right? The part of their shtick is like, what can I say that's going to rage bait people today? Because the more people that I rage bait, the more people that see my stuff. You know, we don't necessarily want it to be shticky. I just want you to be okay saying the thing that needs to be said. That's it. The truth, your truth, the truth of this, right? My truth sometimes feels like a lie to other people. And I'm okay with that. That's part of audacious messaging, right? My truth was what I put in that ad. That felt like a lie. That felt like a complete and utter arrogant, irresponsible lie to somebody else. Unrealistic. I'm okay with that. That's okay. That's your truth. This is mine. So with audacious messaging, again, we're not trying to create polarization, but we understand that sometimes that's part of it. And we understand that when we speak our truth and we say the thing that needs to be said, we will turn people off. And we also understand the art of polarization, which is the more you polarize, the more you magnetize. You cannot be magnetic with also repelling people at the same time. It's literally, universally, scientifically impossible. And the example that I always use here is arguably one of the most magnetic humans that's ever walked the face of the earth. Jesus Christ himself was also at the same time the most beloved and the most hated human on the planet at the same time. How is that possible? Because it's impossible to be any other way. That's how. You cannot be the most beloved by a ton of people without also at the same time being the most hated by just as many people, if not more. So when you try and minimize your polarization and minimize your truth, we're shrinking, we're turning off our magnetism. The more I try to mitigate people's true feelings about me, I am at the same time cranking down my magnet. Don't hate me, don't hate me, don't hate me, don't hate me, don't hate me. Let me twist my words. Let me twist my messaging. Let me give 100 different contexts and caveats. Let me flip this message every single way possible to make it wordy as hell, to make you more comfortable so that you can't argue this, so that you don't hate me. I'm at the same exact time saying, let me do all of that so you can't love me. Because while I'm trying to appease these people over here, I am severely disappointing and letting the people who need my message and who could love me down. You cannot please both. Who do you choose to please? The ones who want to buy from you, who want to be your lifers, who need your message implanted in their veins? Like their life depends on it, or the people who are dead set on hating you regardless of what you say. They're going to hate you anyway. They're going to judge you anyway. And you're going to bend and shrink and contort for them? No, we're not doing that anymore. No. The more you polarize, the more you magnetize. That's all you need to know about that. Okay, so that's our audacious messaging. Audacious offers. Here's what Audacity looks like in our offers. This is where we create what we wish existed, what we know she wants and needs, but definitely wants, even if she doesn't know it yet. I'm not creating what's safe. I'm not necessarily creating what she asked for. This drives me mad when I'm working with women. I cannot tell you how many times I've had to have this conversation where I'm coaching somebody and they say, well, I'm going to poll my audience. I'm going to ask I don't know what to create, so I'm going to ask my audience. They said they'd buy this. They said they wanted that. Well, are they buying it? No. Yeah, because they fucking don't know what they want. That's your job. It's your job to create the thing that they don't even realize they need and want yet. That's our job. We are the creators. They are the consumers. You don't go to a consumer and say, what do you want? Now, you can get feedback. There can be some things for sure, but largely that is your part. That's where Audacity comes in, where you have the courage to say, I hear what you're saying. I know you think you want that, but I got you. Hold on. Look at this. And then they're like, oh, that's what I want. I didn't even know I wanted that. Yeah, duh. I know, because I'm good at what I do. So one of my favorite quotes here is Henry Ford, who said, if I had asked people what they wanted, they would have asked for faster horses. If you're a little slow, Henry Ford invented the car, right? Do you think people were asking for cars? No, they didn't know cars were even a possibility. He said, I hear you. I know. You want a faster stallion or whatever the fuck you want over there, but just hold on. And he changed the world. That's Audacity. That's an audacious offer. Do audacious offers always work? No, that's part of the risk. Okay? That's part of it. In the same way that polarizing makes you more magnetic and also equally repels, some of your offers are going to freaking sell like hotcakes and make you a millionaire times 10. And then some offers are going to be epic failures. It's part of it. It's part of the game. Get comfortable with it. Okay? Because here's something else Henry Ford said. Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. And he really ate with that one. That one's legit. Nobody has said it better than that. Okay? So here's what I want you to do. Here's what I want you to do. Okay? Moving forward. Here's what I want you to do. When it comes to your offers, we're going to kind of shift the way that we're thinking about these. All right. I come up with offers like this all the time and it always works every single time. So I'm going to teach you exactly what I do. There is a number that you want to be hitting in your business every single month. Okay. Not the average number, not the realistic number, not the number that you think is possible. I'm talking about like the stretch number that would be so exciting for you. What I want you to do is I want you to take that monthly number and I want you to break it down by different price points on a piece of paper. So do this in just a second. So what this is going to look like is, let's say you want to hit 50K months, right? It's good. It's a good starting goal to have. So 50K months. Now we're going to break that down by different price points, right? So what are different ways that we can get to 50K months? So one way is you could sell one $50,000 package every month. Just one. We only need one person every single month. That's one way. You could also sell 5 $10,000 packages. That's another way. You could sell 10 $5,000 packages, or 25 $2,000 packages, or 50 $1,000 packages, or 100 $500 offers, or a mix of all the above. However you want to do that. You can break it up however you want to. So I want you to break down that number and start there. And then pick one of those ways that feels good for you, right? Like some of you might be like, wait a second. It never occurred to me. I'm sitting here trying to sell 100 $500 offers, and that feels impossible because my audience is so small. But it never occurred to me that I could just make one creme de la creme, dream all in 50K package. And I only need to sell it to one person. And what if I sell it to 2 or 3? I can find 3 people who want this incredible package, right? So that's what I want you to do. I want you to look at those numbers and I want you to be like, okay, what gives you energy? That's what we're looking for. We're looking for that sacral, I like that. I can't get behind 100 $500 packages, but the 10 $5,000 ones, that I fucks with. That I have some ideas for. Then I want you to get to work and start building this package. Okay, if we want to create a $5,000 offer and we're going to sell it to 10 people or however you decide to do that, well, what's a match for the $5,000 offer? What's a match for your time for $5,000? What's a match for your services for $5,000 or whatever it is that you offer? You may not have anything. Can you create something? This is going to have you looking at your business and your services and your time in a whole other different way. So now we're creating something that's very exciting for you because it's going to have you hitting that number that you feel really good about. But now we're getting creative in the different ways that we can serve. You know what she needs. You know what she needs. And you know it. Well, more importantly, you know what she wants, right? You know what your client wants. Now, what can you create that's going to get her there? That is a match for that price. That is an audacious offer. Now, audacious visibility. What does this look like? What this looks like is showing up as if you have already arrived. What the hell does that mean? That means you are so used to getting on your phone and opening up your stories, and you know the same 20, 30, however many, 300 people are going to be seeing your stuff. And thus you show up that way, right? You kind of show up like how you always do. You kind of like that's you've kind of boxed yourself in that way. All right. Well, you want to grow your business. You want to be seen more. You know that visibility is part of the strategy. It's part of what you want to create as somebody who wants to create something extraordinary online. So if you want to be seen by more people, you need to be showing up as somebody who is already seen by those people. So I want you moving forward showing up as if you have 100,000 people watching your stories or 1 million or whatever that number is. I don't say this to scare you or freak you out, but what you're going to notice is this is going to shift something about how you show up, right? Like if somebody were to say, because I've been at the same number for a minute now. I've had let's say, a little over 35,000 people following me. And I get the same, couple thousand people who see my stories every single time. I'm used to that, right? And I would love my audience to be bigger, for sure. I would love to have a 6-figure audience, and I'm creating that. So if somebody were to say, okay, Allie, surprise, I just waved a magic wand, and there are now 100,000 people in your audience. And many of whom they're going to see your stories, and they are waiting on bated breath to hear what you're going to say next. Well, if you think that I'm about to show up to my stories in that same way that I always do, you've lost your mind. There are going to be many similarities, but I'm going to be sitting up a little straighter. I'm going to take time to compose myself, to consider what I'm saying. I feel the weight of responsibility of having that much of an audience. I'm going to be thoughtful and intentional, even more than I already am with the words that come out of my mouth. There are those changes, right? Well, that tells me something. That tells me that the way that I've been showing up, the reason why I haven't grown much past what I had, the reason why I've been staying at this level is because I've been showing up at this level. So you, whatever yours is, you can't hit over 10K or 50K or whatever because you keep acting like the same 300 people are watching you. And they are. So when you raise your frequency above that, and you allow yourself to show up as that version who already has the audience right now first, watch how your posture, your energy, everything's going to change. Okay? So audacious visibility is going first, shifting that energy now, taking that responsibility now, setting that intention, leading now. This is going to get it very, very clear for you. If you had 1,000 people in one of your offers, you would show up differently. You would probably lead, you'd probably communicate more clearly because you have to, because you have 1,000 people there. You're used to 10 people in your offers, so you've kind of gotten a little lazy and complacent, which is why you can't get more than 10 people in your offers, because you are stuck in this lower frequency. Rise above it, shift it, go first. So many of you are at the mercy of your circumstances. I'll change what my circumstances do, without realizing that you very easily can flip that on its head. My circumstances are at the mercy of me. They change when I change. That's actually how it happens. When I raise my frequency and show up as somebody who's ready to be seen and heard by 100,000 people, I'm going to start attracting matches to those numbers. Okay? And then finally, there's audacious selling. And this is just owning it. This is just owning it. No more humble Hannah energy when it comes to selling. Audacious selling is simply selling with certainty. But unfortunately, people think of this as selling with arrogance. They think audacious selling is arrogant selling, but it's not. It's selling with certainty, not convincing. I don't need to chase you down. I can attract because I am certain of what I bring to the table. And I'm going to fully embody that energy, so much so because I know it and I own it and I believe it. And when I stand in that energy and I speak from that energy, you will realize that. I don't need to shout. I don't have to be loud, but I will be bold and I will be confident and certain about the genius that I'm bringing to the table. Audacious selling is, I know this will change your life energy. I know if you want this outcome, this will give it to you. If you show up and do your part and I show up and do my part, you will get the outcome. That's what audacious selling is. I know what the hell I'm doing energy. I trust myself. Do you? That's what that is. So, like I said in the beginning, people want to buy with confidence, right? And they cannot do that with someone being a humble Hannah. Humble Hannah isn't owning her shit. She's busy shrinking, trying not to be too much. All of her energy is trying to please people versus owning and standing in her shit and her brilliance. Humble Hannah undersells herself and tries to play it cool and not be too much or perceived as arrogant. And guess what happens to humble Hannah? She loses the sale to Audacious Allie because Audacious Allie owns her brilliance from a place of certainty, not arrogance. And she makes her buyers feel safe and excited to hand over their hard-earned cash to her. So then humble Hannah loses another sale. Don't be humble Hannah. Be audacious. Own it. Own it. Otherwise, be very okay with somebody else, Mr. Stealing your girl. It will happen. And we don't know the quality of their work, but we know the quality of yours. So own it. Okay. So here's what I want you to do moving forward until the energy of audacity becomes normal to you. Here's what I want you to do. Before you create anything, moving forward, before you go into your stories, before you make a post, before you sit down for a podcast, before you sit down with your clients, I want you to ask yourself this question. If I fully embodied my too much self today, my full ass self, how would I show up? What would I say? What would I stop apologizing for? What would I do? And then I want you to imagine, before you go do that thing, whatever the number is, if it's 100,000 people, if it's 1,000,000 people, if it's 200,000 people, if it's 10,000 people, whatever the number is, if you had that many people watching you and hanging on your every word, how would you record that story? What would you say? How would you communicate? How would you hold yourself accountable? I used to notice that when I had a smaller audience, when I had a smaller business, I would say I was going to do something, but then I would let myself off the hook because I was like, well, nobody's paying attention. How many of you just heard that and a little light bulb went off? Nobody will notice. Yeah, I said I was going to do that, but who really is paying attention anyway? That is small, tiny, tiny energy. Tiny. And worse, it lacks integrity. Be the woman who does what she says she's going to do. Start there. That's bold. That's courageous. That's a leader. So I would notice that. I'd be like, okay, well, that tells me why I'm at where I'm at. Because if I think nobody's watching me because I'm at this level and I like that's how I'm behaving, well, then I am going to start doing what I'm saying I'm going to do. I'm going to act as if 100,000 people are holding me accountable and are really paying attention because I'm inspiring them, because I'm leading them, because I say that's what I said I want to do. And when I started being that woman, this is back, not when I had 35,000 followers. This is back when I had like 2,000 followers. Well, that's what got me here. So now I'm asking myself, okay, what's going to get me to the next level? What needs to shift? How I asked that and figured that out and bridged that gap is if I had 100,000 people watching me and hanging on my every word, how would I show up? There are gaps there. And when you fill these gaps audaciously, you will collapse time, you will collapse energy, you will collapse results, and you will move upward. Okay? I want you to anchor that energy before you show up moving forward in the next post, the next pitch, the next story, the next client call, whatever it is that you're doing. Practice this. Do this for 1 week. Just practice it. And then you won't even really have to think about it. It will become normalized to you. And then these are the results that you will like. Don't be surprised when things start moving upwards. Money, audience, engagement, all of it. Okay. So in the next episode, we're going to take this even deeper and we are going to talk about how to make your content impossible to ignore. All right. So I cannot wait to see you there. If you enjoyed this one, please screenshot and share this in your stories. Please let me know. If you really want to make a difference, share it for sure. And also take 2 minutes and leave us a 5-star review on iTunes or Spotify or wherever you listen. That makes such a huge difference. It allows me to reach more people and allows me to continue to do this as my job. That is how you, even if you're not buying from me, that is the best way that you can support my business and my message. So thank you for listening. I love you, and I will see you next week. Bye.